everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Heroes Peak podcast. I'm your host, Chris. Today, a rebel. And with me today, my other fellow rebel compatriots. We have medical care failed.
Rebel compatriot.
It's James. How you doing? Sorry, I'm reading your tag that you wrote down underneath. It's a full sentence. It takes
Oh
me a minute.
yeah. If you want to be a rebel compatriot or pure rebel, don't start a mutiny and then stop as soon as you get to the capital of the state union you're trying to take over, because it's not going to end well for you. So rebel to the end.
That's right.
Don't half-ass rebel.
Also, don't forget to kill the head of the army. Don't leave them alive. Right, Mike? We also have Mike. How you doing?
Okay. Proud to say my people landed on the moon today. It's a very good accomplishment, although, it was as an Uber driver. So, whether they were bringing somebody or going themselves, same difference.
That's all right.
Let's just hope the British don't, start putting together space programs that go manifest destiny that bad boy.
If that's only if they left stuff up there, then they would go up and take it.
Yeah, sure. Sugar and spices and silk.
Sugar and spices. All right. And everything nices. All right. So we're going to do a quick one right now. We're going to talk about the first 2 episodes of Ahsoka. It just came out on Disney+. This is a 8-episode series set after the fall of the Empire, around the same time as The Mandalorian is set, or at least the 3rd episode of The Mandalorian is set. Written by, and the first 2 episodes directed by...
Don't worry about it, Mike. You can fix it in
Dave
post.
Filoni. What?
Yeah, Chris, you got your timelines way off.
What do you mean?
We know
they're talking about Thrawn, and they were talking about Thrawn at the end of the third season of Mandalorian.
He's right.
What do you mean they're...
When Mando went... When Mando got his Beskar staff from what's her face? That was season 2.
That was season 2, by the way. That was season 2.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Anyway, moving on, because
season 2.
I had to do a bunch of timeline math in my head too for this show. So yeah,
I came ready mentally.
Too many timelines. All right. So again, written by Dave Filoni, all of them, but only the first 2 episodes, which is what we watched, directed by Dave Filoni. So let's get this out of the way. This is the 4th series, live action series, Star Wars, Disney Plus, 3rd.
If you say so.
Still 4th.
Is it? Yeah, Mando.
Yeah,
4th one.
Obi-Wan, Mando,
and Ben,
Boba
and
Fett,
Andor.
and now
That's
Ahsoka.
5.
Oh, 5. Andor.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't count Andor
Anyway.
though. That show sucked. Yeah, we get it. You're in a prison. We get it. Come on. Moving on already.
So what? You can't swim.
We have a cave trove. Anyway,
All right. Anyway, so this is pretty much using characters who got all their start in animation, both Clone Wars and Rebels. So if you have not partaken in any of those in any amount, you won't recognize a lot of these characters. But if you've at least done a little bit, a lot of podcasts, even Star Wars itself, has been trying to give people primers. I personally have kept not watching the primers episodes, but I do have some Clone Wars watching in my past, but no Rebels. So I'm trying to do this in the dark a little bit, so I get that part of the writing. How well are they informing people who don't know Star Wars? Whereas if you watched Andor, you didn't need to know anything. If you watched Obi-Wan, you obviously had to have watched the movies. This is a completely different thing here. So
Yeah, so right off the bat, what were we talking about last week? And I said, I can't even remember what we reviewed last week. It was so bad. And I said it was tied to, when we talked about The Flash.
Oh, yeah.
Remember how I said
Flash movie.
You can't just go watch The Flash unless you watch all the Snyder's crap beforehand, right?
Great point
So,
there, yep.
But these TV shows, these Star Wars TV shows are made specifically for the fans who have watched. Like, you can't watch Andor, really. I mean, you can watch it, but to understand Andor and his fate coming up, it's obviously good to have seen Rogue One, right?
Right, but I don't think you
So
had to have seen it before you watched Andor. Andor could lead you into
no.
Rogue One, and then you could move forward from there. This
Yeah.
is the,
Well, I
I mean that
imagine.
quite honestly, Boba Fett falls into that too. Like you could
Yeah.
have not even seen
no, you
freaking
wouldn't watch Boba Fett.
Return of the Jedi or
Right.
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Okay. Yeah. Let me correct because I am. So Andor season 2 is going to be like 5 years long. I am. That's what they say, right?
Yes, it's supposed
Like
to
this
be
first season
time
of
travel.
Andor was one spacey or whatever
Hmm.
their measurement is,
Right.
and the next one is going to lead all the way to the end of it. Is going to lead right up to the beginning of Rogue One.
Correct.
So that's when I think we'll see more Easter eggs for the fans who have seen Rogue One,
Right.
and
Yeah, I
for
agree with that.
and I will say for Mandalorian, for the most of Mandalorian, you really don't have to have a lot of Star Wars
The
knowledge
first
to enjoy the
first
show.
season was great. You could really go in
Yeah,
ice cold there, and then they kind of Filoni'd it.
it's when all the Easter eggs started showing up, and then people were like,
Yes,
well,
because they
I've never
made
seen
there's
Star Wars.
money. Yeah,
I'm
money.
only 12 years old. What is this crap?
Yeah, money.
Not, I mean, let's
So
be honest with ourselves. You're not drawing in new people on Disney Plus with the Star Wars shows. I think you're drawing people in who have seen a movie or seen a cartoon or something like that first. That would be my
hmm
assumption. Not to say that it's 0%. There could be 0.1% or something of people who are like, all right, we've got Disney Plus for Marvel. Let me try this show out. It's definitely a possibility. But I think Star Wars is too big of a brand to say people are coming in completely cold on the idea of a Star Wars show.
But Mike, were you about to say that you don't believe this Ahsoka show needed? I mean, that you need to watch a bunch of other times because you were getting to this point, and then we kind of went off.
no, no.
What
My
were you
point
trying to
is,
say?
no, no. Chris was saying that it's tied in a lot to Rebels, which it is, and it's obviously better if you have seen Rebels.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so far, if you've seen Mando, then you know the Ahsoka character just from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know the antagonist from that, and everybody else is a new character to you. So all you know right now is there is history between Ahsoka and Sabine.
Mm-hmm.
General Syndulla. Her name was mentioned in Rogue One at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and that's all you know. So she's a general. She was with the Rebel
Mm-hmm.
Alliance. So take it from there, right?
Yeah, and I think they did a pretty good job because I didn't watch any of Rebels. I know who
Mm,
Ahsoka is. I know her relation to
yeah.
Anakin is. I heard the name Sabine Wren before. I knew she was a Mandalorian. Like I know some of those general ideas, but
And Ezra, right? Sorry, I
I'm
forgot to mention Ezra.
very low on the names on what actually is the stuff behind it. So what I want to see as I watch this is am I going to be so interested and enthralled in these characters that it makes me go maybe I do want to go over here and watch a couple of Clone War episodes. Maybe that does interest me. Or is it going to be like I got enough, whatever. These aren't that they're fine enough for what I'm watching. So I'll be interested in my interest level as we watch this series.
But this is a perfect reaction because for me, watching these two episodes dropped a lot of member berries from Rebels, which I loved, and seeing all that on in live action and seeing these characters, was exciting for me. So this is a great reaction to have someone who's basically a fanboy of Rebels and someone who's never seen
Mhm.
Rebels, and we can break down these episodes this way.
Yeah, and I'll say I didn't feel like oh shit, I need to go watch something else before I can get into this. I think they did a
Mm-hmm.
good job of in dialogue sketching out exactly what the character relationship is enough that I can follow. Okay, we're looking for Ezra. This is who Ezra is. This is who he was to Sabine. This is who he was to Ahsoka. And this is who Thrawn
Yeah.
is. And there's a connection between Thrawn and Ezra. There's a connection between Thrawn and these guys. That's good
Mm-hmm.
enough to have me in this story and not feel like look, there's something completely missing that I don't know and I can't go forward without knowing it.
even Balon's introduction,
Mm,
was a good, quick introduction explanation of who he was, where he came from. We don't know how he got here,
right.
where he is now.
Yeah, he's not on any existing IP,
Right.
animated
But
or Legends.
we have an idea, what might have happened after Clone Wars,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
Yeah.
I think with me, I'm just giving my quick 2 cents. Is I probably have a more deeper knowledge of the lore. Like for example, you mentioned Rebels, which is a clear tie-in, and obviously the Mando season 2 with the Ahsoka's episode. But also there's some other cameos from Clone Wars and the second half of Clone Wars. Like for example, the Night Sisters of Dathomir. I'm surprised, Mike, you don't remember them.
yeah, I,
And
I I knew right away. I was like, oh, nice, good callback. Yeah.
yes, yes, Eric remembered. Oh, isn't that where the tribe that Darth Maul came from?
Yep.
Also the robot that was used as like this
Huang,
version of
Yang.
K2SO. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was like thousands of years of Jedi
Hmm.
artifacts, and that stuff was in a thrown away episode in Clone Wars as well. I think for me, the member berries were full on. I mean, you mentioned it, Mike, but for me, it was like to the point where I was starting to get annoyed at myself, like just doing like that meme instead of actually
Up, up.
enjoying the story and plot development. So, I mean, my first reaction once I kind of pulled myself out of like the member berries and the cameos was this first these first 2 episodes, do they make me feel like I want more? Yes, the answer is yes. Do they make me feel like
Same.
Star Wars is back, baby? And I know we joke around this amongst ourselves for the over 50 and the fire Kathleen Kennedy and my first movie was Phantom Menace and it's the greatest ever crowds. Like all the mixture of Star Wars fandoms. I think that it's back at the Dave Filoni original Star Wars story development. To me, this felt more like the animated shows as opposed to any of the live actions that
Uh,
we've
Yes.
seen, including Mando.
Yes, I
This
agree.
felt more like even the way they were cutting into certain scenes, and then
The
like the moments
wipes
when there
and
was
yeah.
no dialogue, and it was just like action happening on scene, and no one speaking for like 2 minutes. That's straight out of Rebels.
Yep.
Um, so from my first reaction, I was very impressed with these first 2 episodes, and I like where I think it's gonna go. I hope it's gonna go there, and I'm excited, man. We back, baby. Dave Filoni, I trust, and my trust was
so,
was met
so there's
right.
a couple of spots I want to connect to what you were saying, James. Number one, you said, as someone who's watched the Clone Wars, obviously, I think because of the director, you're going to get that. For me, who has not
That's true.
watched the Clone Wars, this whole time watching both, especially that opening shot, immediately I was transported to the prequels, and I
Mm.
felt like I could have literally walked out of, uh, episode 3, and the next year watched this, and it would have been a better CGI upgrade, but otherwise it felt right at home. Like I was like, this guy has the shot style down. He's got the pacing down. He's got the they've got the ship design. They've got the everything. Everything just felt right at home in that classic Star Wars feel.
Yes, you said it better than I
And
did
Yeah.
originally.
we adore Andor. We adored it. We praised it to high heaven constantly, and still do. But it's its own thing. It's a guy telling a story that needed to be told inside the Star Wars universe with his own style, with a very naturalistic, uh, physical in uh, on planet style, whatever you want to call that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This felt like that. Yes, I know they're using CG, but they're doing such a good job of placing me in that location that I don't feel it. So one of the problems with
Mm.
Obi-Wan is like many shots, not all of them, but many shots,
Many
you were
shots.
like, "Oh, well I don't know if it's the compositing, I don't know if it's the structure they set up, I don't know if it's lighting, I don't know what it is. I can feel that they're standing on a soundstage and there's a screen behind them, right?
Yeah, even the way sometimes he would look at a character while speaking, like his eyes were not aligned with that character.
Right,
You knew that they were not in the same room together.
right.
But
This,
yeah,
I don't think I ever got that on a scene. I literally watched it today, so I was kind of on the lookout, and I don't remember a scene, even ones where I know just from the shot
that
structure.
that Lothal cat, Mike, that Lothal cat
Yeah,
was an
the
animatronic.
Love Cat.
It
Yeah.
wasn't CGI.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No.
but like
What? Wait. What?
the one in
yeah, they built it like they built the droids, but they,
Really?
great work,
yeah,
That is
great.
cool. Yeah.
But like when a ship lands in the shipyard and they're going down the shipyard, I know
Mm-hmm.
100% that's CG, but they did a very solid job of making them feel well enough in the scene. Like it did not feel ugly, obvious, out of place. It felt pretty good watching it. So I'll say that.
No, there was a nice little moment when the when Balon's ship was landing, the Imperial shuttle,
Mhm.
and the wings folded up, and it was landing on the planet, and it didn't just come down, and it did a little wiggle,
Right.
like because there was like turbulence, and the jets were adjusting. I thought that was a nice little touch at the end,
Well,
little
and
detail,
there's
you know?
multiple times a character jumped from main screen onto a platform while they're running away or being chased or
Mm,
whatever. And even
yeah, many
those
times.
I felt were solid. You know,
yeah.
I whether or not you want to say movie quality, TV quality, it didn't matter to me. I never felt like I was taken out of the scene due to a bad masking or CG background or something. Even though I'm sure it was used more than Andor, but I felt really good the whole time. I
So instant reaction seemed like we're all in the same boat. Like this was good. This is what we. It meets at least what we expected. It may not surpass for some of us,
I
but it met our
I had
expectations.
Yeah, right now for sure. Yeah.
I had expectations really low for this one.
Yeah,
Just
we
just
remember.
because the third season, I was really disappointed in the third season of Mando, and I'm like,
Mendo.
is this where we're going? Are they just gonna chop it up?
But hold on. Here's a question, and I know we're at a good mark here to end this instant reaction. But there's a certain level of control that Dave Filoni has and John Favreau has. I'm not sure if Favreau is driving the ship for the Mando
Mm-hmm.
shows and Boba Fett, and Filoni is driving the Ahsoka shows and the upcoming Skeleton Crew. So,
Mm,
and I know the two of them still report to Kathleen Kennedy, and they're supposed to work in tandem for some of this stuff. But I don't know. Like, I feel like
yeah.
there's a style difference right now that I'm seeing from Ahsoka that's not from the same cloth as Mando and Boba.
And for me, what I think that is that Dave Filoni is so just. I mean, he's been doing this for years in animation, and I think it's one of those things where he's got a so locked into the George Lucas style,
Mm-hmm.
even to one
Nailed it.
negative,
Yeah.
Nailed
my
it.
one negative to this show, and that is actually locked right into the prequels of that kind of flat character acting, almost to the point it feels purposeful because it wasn't just people are going to
Ahsoka?
people are going to say Ahsoka, but I thought everybody was
Yes.
rather understated. I didn't think any character jumped out at me as doing, they did some cool physical action,
Well,
but
I like Ray
Chopper.
Stevenson and
Chopper
what's her
had the
name?
most.
His apprentice, Chopper. Chopper, war
She
criminal.
Yo, when I
But
saw Chopper on the screen, I was like, "Yeah, buddy."
yeah,
loved.
Eric too.
So,
But the antagonist so far, not Lady Morgana, but like Ray Stevenson character, Bane Scroll, and his apprentice,
Right.
they
yeah.
felt a little more dynamic on scene
They
than
did,
everyone
but
else.
slightly. Like it didn't feel like they were, but they're Sith. You don't really expect it out of them. Kind of blah blah blah.
They're not Sith, not
Oh,
Sith.
all right, whatever. Uh,
No, and I think as their mystery unravels,
mhm.
as we learn more about them, I think their characters will get better as too. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're great Jedi. I know
yeah,
it. They're great
yeah,
Jedi.
But I will say, it felt like everybody was being very understated. It felt purposeful. Whether or not I like that, or you like that, or anybody likes that, that's a different argument. It felt like Filoni was purposefully having people in that range, because there was some facial
I think so.
acting, there was some physical
I
acting,
think so.
some smirks, some smiles, some this or that's, but it definitely no.
Yeah, the more dynamic acting out of the protagonists were the secondary and tertiary characters. It was our man from Highlander who was the political speech, all gray beard. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I keep forgetting his name. He's been around since like
Hmm.
Highlander
Hmm.
movie and Lost TV show. Him, um, the guy, the famous actor. Again, he does like Who's Who, and he was the guy running the Corellia's
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
distribution of wealth and parts. Him too. Like there's a lot of those little mid tier, low level actors that just came in for a couple scenes. They were in their bag for like the moments they were on screen, and then the main protagonist, Ahsoka mostly. But yeah, I see your point, Chris. They all
Yeah.
had like a kind of flat.
Hmm.
So I just want to add about Ahsoka. I, I agree with you there, and especially when you think back to season 7 of Clone Wars, she was a lot more emotional. I
Yeah,
understand she's older, so maybe she's older and wiser, and she's
we're
not
gonna
as
get
emotional.
flashbacks. We're gonna get
Yeah,
flashbacks.
but I got to go back and rewatch Rebels because to see how she was during that era as well, right? If she was a little
Yeah,
more calmer, so.
Yeah, but even like, let's take the scene with Sabine Wren, her opening scene. She's driving, which I absolutely adored her speeder bike. Better,
Mhm.
be,
Top Gun Maverick
better than the speeders from the really crappy
from Boba
Bubba Fett
Fett.
kits.
The neutrinos from
Yeah,
Teenage Mutant Ninja
exactly.
Turtles.
The
Yeah,
Power Ranger kids,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So she's doing her thing. She's doing the Captain America on the bike thing, or whatever you want to call it, and then she slides under them, and like she gives that like very understated like smirk, grin, head nod to the pilot,
Hmm.
and I'm like, that could have been bigger if they wanted it to. So I'm feeling Dave Filoni is
I see your
trying
point.
to
I
keep
see your point.
everybody just mm, just keep those emotions
We'll
down,
see.
whether or not it gets
We
bigger.
have a lot of story to tell
Because
from here. There's
Yeah.
only 2 episodes out of 8, so who knows? He's got a
Is it
lot of
eight? Is
story
it
to
eight
it
tell.
is
episodes?
eight.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's 8 episodes. Yeah.
And there's forward
So
momentum. Last thing, forward momentum on the story. I'm happy to see it. Sometimes they wait so long to get into the story mode that they're shoving it all into the last 2 episodes. This it feels like we're already on our move. We're already got our target. We're already on our way. So it definitely feels
Mm.
like much
that
better.
sounds like a show we're about to record later. Ugh.
That's right. Which we'll get
The
Yeah.
there.
opposite, the bizarre version of
All
that.
right, guys. Yeah, I'm good. You guys happy with what direction we're going?
Oh yeah. Right now? Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Go watch
Yeah,
this.
I am
Go
too.
watch it. If you like Star Wars at all, go watch it. You're gonna like it.
And if you want to be a little more tuned than Chris is, watch the last 4 episodes of Rebels at least.
Yes, yeah.
Okay. All right, guys. Mike, where can they find us? Tell us about Ahsoka, their views on the sequel trilogy, and how much they hate Kathleen Kennedy.
So, yeah, as usual, all over the internet at Heroes Peak, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit the bell to get notifications. And leave a comment below. Let us know if you've seen Ahsoka episodes 1 and 2, what you think. Was it everything you hoped it would be?
That's right. Can't wait till the next.
Yes, please leave a comment. Leave a comment because I know some of you personally have had conversations with me about some of these very podcast discussions. And I said, guess what? Leave it in the comment section. And you guys say, yeah, I will next time, James. And then the next publishing happens and I still see no comments. Come on,
Well,
guys. And
I don't know. Where
ladies.
are they going to go? Twitter, X? Oh, nobody wants to comment there. All right.
Leave it in the YouTube
All right.
section.
YouTube works.
YouTube
All
comments,
right, guys.
please.
We'll see you later.
All right.